Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Reality Hour. I am Adam Samuel. Today, we are talking about the last round of semifinals for America's Got Talent. Joining me for this podcast is my co-host Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing good. By last round you mean second of two?
There were two semifinals.
I know, second of two. By last, it's either a first or a last. There's no middle.
I can use my words, Eric.
I know. I'm annoyed because what I'm trying to get at there is that the show is going way too fast for this live show's part.
For me, it's going both too fast and not fast enough. It's kind of like a catch-22.
No, for me it's not. It's too fast. I would like at least one more round of live shows on AGT, like we had back a couple years ago. I'd love a top 12 and then a top 6.
I mean, the last contestant I had any stake in this season went home this round, so.
Not mine, but mine's dead man walking, sadly. We'll get there.
Yeah, when I saw that he was in the bottom 3, Ryan, who we were talking about, the comedian who was Eric's golden buzzer, I tweeted, Eric is not going to be happy about this. That was my first reaction when I heard the results. Mm-hmm. What was your reaction to that news?
Well, he didn't deserve to be there, but at least he got the save and made it through. So honestly, I know he's not going to win because he's not getting the views on YouTube that he needs in order to be a contender to win. It's screwed up as it is because he's the best one they have this year, in my view. But having said that, he's not going to win. But what I wanted is for him to get one more 3 to 5 minute set, so they can get more material out of him, and hopefully that'll help him sell tour tickets. Because what I want most is for him to do well off of this, because I want to be able to see him in DC sometime. So,
I mean, I enjoyed Ryan's. Eric got to watch me rewatch it right before we went live. I don't think he's the funniest comedian, but he's funny by America's Got Talent standards, which is.
I think he's pretty funny. I think he's pretty funny, period. And by America's Got Talent standards, he's absolutely the best stand-up comedian I've ever had, for me. Stand up.
Well, one of the big news kind of coming into this episode, the semifinals, was we have another guest judge this week, Queen Latifah. What did you think? How did you think she did, Eric?
I only watched her critiques for the first 3 acts. She's
I'll
fine. Be honest.
I thought she did better than half the panel.
Okay, well that's a very low bar, but sure, I'm sure she did.
And one of them who was in the top 2 was not. Howie Mandel was in the top 2.
This week?
This week.
Oh, God, that's horrifying.
Well, I mean, I don't like Howie Mandel, but I kind of like him in I don't like him way. It's kind of in that you know what I mean? I dislike his style of and everything about his AGT.
You hate everything about him, but you love hating him.
That's the point. But the other two, the 2 new judges this season, they're just awful. Just straight up awful. They add nothing to the show. They're essentially cheerleaders. And why do we need a cheerleader? I miss Howard Stern.
I miss judges that judge in general.
It's the changing times, Eric. This is what's happened.
And you know who I like to blame for all of this? You know who I blame for all of this?
Simon Cowell.
No, I blame J-Lo.
J-Lo.
Because her and Steven Tyler are the ones that set us on this course.
I blame Simon Cowell because Simon Cowell had that baton, and he caved to it. And I feel like if he hadn't caved to it and kind of stick to his usual judging method, he might have been okay.
Whatever. Anyway, let's talk about.
Maybe it's Eric Cowell's fault. Simon became a father, and now he's like, oh.
You just want to blame the guy named Eric. Is all you're doing this for. That's just fun for you.
I don't know. Maybe
given how I usually edit this episode, I don't blame you for wanting to blame a guy named Eric. But
I mean, I can't really be too mean to Eric because he holds the editing button. He could put a clown face on me.
Unfortunately, this week I did not hold the editing button because my Mac is broken, so this is going to be an unedited episode. But keep in mind that had I had the editing button, there would have been a lot of stuff going on about 2 contestants from now. So let's dive in, shall we?
All right, let's start getting into these contestants. So, 11 performers, 5 make it through, 3 through the vote, 2 from the Duncan save. It's funny, I was actually going through old Wikipedia articles because I was looking through like archetypes of the same contestants that have been over the years. And it used to be, first of all, I counted like 5 Amane, like the opera girls. Like just going through
Only
the
5?
Well, I only
feels like there's one every year.
Almost every year. I saw a lot of them, and I saw it was still at one point it was the Snapple save. I was like, huh.
It's whoever sponsors the show gets to save people.
Why can't it be a not sponsored save? Why can't it just be like?
Because this is America, and we're capitalist.
Capitalism. Anyway, so kicking off
time for Eric's socialist rant of the day. No, I'm kidding. It's not time for that. No one's got time for that.
All right. Well, let's talk about V.Unbeatable. They are they're the dance troupe. They're an Indian dance troupe, and a lot of hype for these guys. People have been calling if anyone's gonna lose this season, if Cody Lee is going to lose this season to anyone, it might be these guys. Eric, did you feel for this round they stepped it up?
I don't think they stepped it up, but they stepped across, and they didn't go down any level, which is all they needed to do, honestly. I think they do have a legitimate chance of winning the show. I'm actually having a tough time. I'm running a prediction power list for next week. I'm flip-flopping whether or not I want to put them in first or second. I know you're not flip-flopping, but...
I can't agree. I think they make top 4 at best, honestly. I think people might be overhyping this group because they're good, but I don't see them top 2. I don't. I think they're going to be like one of those shockers. Like they're going to finish third, maybe.
I think that if anyone's a shocker, it's going to be Cody.
But if not Cody, then who? I don't believe it's.
I think it's
V.Unbeatable. I don't believe you on America's Got Talent. It's different on Britain's Got Talent, but we've never had a group win. Like it's always.
And that's why I think it's possible. I think it's because we've never had a dance group win that they could possibly be the first.
Well, one person who does say that they probably have a shot to win is I was actually watching this interview with Howie Mandel. It was one of those kind of like after the show interviews, and he was. You
went out of your way to watch more Howie Mandel. What kind of sadist are you?
Sometimes you just got to watch the world burn. So he was doing an interview, which, funny enough, I skipped through the interview, and I noticed like the interviewing person was like really chummy. And did you know it was actually his daughter?
I know exactly what video series you're talking about.
Well, anyway, so she was asking him about who he thinks the top 3 is. And his top 3, in his words, this was actually before the semifinals. I think it was from last week. It was Cody Lee, Benicio, and V.Unbeatable was who he predicts is going to be the final 3. It's an interesting. I don't know if he has any input. Does he get to see the results? Do you think does?
No, he doesn't. But I think he might be right, actually. But we'll see.
Can Benicio win?
No.
Like now, I'm starting to. Anyway.
No, I wouldn't mind that, but he can't win.
All right. Well, for V.Unbeatable, they do this whole trick with this ladder, and it's basically what this troupe kind of does. I call it an adrenaline act. It's kind of an act where they're gonna do incredible things. It's very high energy. They're trying to get you to feel that like adrenaline rush in a minute 30 seconds. But this is not an act I don't usually like dance troupes. I mean,
never do I. But this season, at this point, with all of my favorite acts either not going to win or already gone home, I'm pulling for them.
first of all, I don't think they're going to have that emotional connection with the audience. I don't
They're
think.
not. They're not. But did Shin Lim?
Shin Lim is one person.
I know.
Like, maybe it wasn't that much of a connection, but at least it was focused. Like, they were voting for Shin Lim. Like, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
All right. Well, I enjoyed them. I think they definitely deserve their acts, which we will talk about in a few minutes because I did not entirely agree with the results from this episode. In fact, I disagreed with I think half of them, honestly.
I agreed with one result and how the order happened. Everyone else I would have switched out or moved to higher up.
All right. Well, let's talk about Dom Chambers, who for me was one of the surprise that we lost this week. He is a magician.
After seeing the trick or before seeing the trick?
Kind of both, honestly.
No.
I was still thinking.
It was before the trick. I thought he was going to make it through. After the trick, he was a dead man walking.
So he does this. It's all beer with him. He does a trick where he has this giant vat of beer, and he does other things. And what did you make of it, Eric?
Honestly, this might be the worst trick that I've ever seen at this stage of the competition of America's Got Talent. Genuinely, it might be. Because I knew it was so easy to figure out. There are a million ways that you could imagine how it was done. Literally, the beer is not like on the ground. It's high up. You can easily just drain it into something that's bigger below it.
For me, Dom, the story with Dom is he's kind of the reverse of Eric Chen, who we lost last week.
He's reverse of Shin Lim. Shin Lim is
just for this analogy this season with Eric. Eric is all like the magic. It's all the magic. It's the skill.
It's all the skill. And Dom is all the personality.
It's exactly.
Reverse. They are reversed. Dom has no skill and a ton of personality.
Somewhere in the middle is the perfect magician. But the Matt Franco, I think, is the closest thing we could who's come to it.
I think Shin Lim is better than Matt Franco, but
it's a different kind of personality. I agree. But for Dom, his problem is he tries to compensate for subpar magic with personality, which I think is him doing the best he can with the hand he's been dealt. Like, I don't know if it's maybe originality problems, like just being unable to work out a better trick, or maybe just this is the trick he was handed. And he tried. Like, I can feel like he really put the effort into it. He really tried to sell it. But the fact is, the trick just wasn't impressive.
At all. For me.
It was very straightforward, very easy to figure out. But like I said, I was still kind of expecting him to make it through because
I wasn't. I wasn't thinking that after the trick because it's not the type of trick for if you know things you can figure out. It's the type of trick where if you look at the trick without knowing anything. If you woke up from a coma from 40 years and they said, "Hey, watch this trick. How is it done?" It's like say, "Oh, the beer drained into something else." Literally, it's the easiest trick to figure out I've ever seen, honestly. Besides the ones that aren't even tricks, like Shin Lim's last time.
I'm going to predict, though, that we have not seen the end of Dom Chambers because I can totally see him following in the footsteps of Collins Key from a couple of years ago. He's going to launch a YouTube channel, and he's going to blow up and become a huge YouTuber, and then eventually start making really cringy videos.
Okay, sure.
Like Collins Key, because have you seen any of Collins' recent videos?
You brought them up to me, and apparently we're not good. But I'm not going to judge because our videos aren't good either. So.
I felt my brain cells dying watching these videos, and
I am not going to judge anyone else.
Just look at the thumbnails of his videos, and that's all you need to know because
I'll take your word for it.
Because Collins is like such a good magician, and he kind of threw magic away to kind of be a YouTuber. Like I liked his anyway. I think that's what the road Dom is gonna go, and I think that's a smart road for him. I think his personality alone is perfect for YouTube, and I think he will make a lot of money there.
Okay. Who called it? Ready?
This is the greatest show.
No, you called that one. We'll give ourselves we're gonna say collectively we called it. You called the movie, I called the song.
Eric, we need some editing. We need to see like the clip from that episode that we did. I think it was 2 weeks ago when we talked
I'm
about.
gonna try my hardest to put it in, but I'm not gonna. I'm no promises.
It is Luke Islam. It is our young singer who I thought was maybe one of my favorites remaining of this season. The bar just keeps getting lower, but I still was really consistently liking. Luke was never like my number one, but he was like my number 9, and he was still.
He was higher than number 9. He was in my top 5.
All right, so he is a young, big singer, and he is performing Never Enough from The Greatest Showman. Now, for people who are just tuning in for the first time, 2 weeks ago when we talked about Luke Islam last, I think it was 2 weeks, it might have been 3, I made a prediction that we were going to hear Luke Islam doing a Greatest Showman song, and I predicted that it would be This Is Me, and I was half right.
And then I added in that it would be either This Is Me or Never Enough, and I was right.
I think Simon's going to have a problem because the season is coming to an end, and I don't think he's hit the Greatest Showman quotas of numbers of songs. And all of a sudden, we're going to have V.Unbeatable and the choirs and all of them.
Okay, I am going to bet you that there's a non-zero chance that they'll be dancing to This Is Me next time. There is a non-zero chance. If I get, I'm not going to say that they're going to be, but I'm saying that they might be. And if they are, I wear a crown regardless of whether or not my pick wins the show.
Anyway, so he is doing Never Enough. Big song, but very, 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 very overdone at this point, as is every single song from The Greatest Showman. Kind of, actually. Maybe just the 3 that... You know the 3. The dreaded 3. It's like... I don't even know where I was going with that. So, what did you think about his rendition of Never Enough, Eric?
He sang it well. It wasn't a huge moment for him, but he sang it well. That's it.
I think you should have done This Is Me. For 2 reasons.
Let's be 100% right, not 50% right.
I want to be 100% right.
Actually, I'll be generous. Let's say you are 75% right.
Is that more than the percent that you are right?
That is less than percent I am right. Significantly less. I am 100% right.
I threw out the Greatest Showman idea first, though. Come on.
But I agree with it, and then I add on to it.
That's not fair. Come on.
Oh, that's fair. We can debate about it all you want. We're both right. Okay, fine.
All right. Anyway, so in my opinion, I don't think this was picked for him.
You think he picked it himself?
I don't think he picked it himself. But he did what he could with it. I mean, it's kind of a song not to be, like, vocally, it could be sung by him, but I don't think it's really meant to be sung by him because he's, like, a little kid, and this is kind of like a bit of a more emotional song about, like, I've never seen The Greatest Showman, so I'm assuming, like, something about a lover, like, so I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's not a song that he should be singing. I mean, but for what he did with it, I thought it was good. And I'll be honest, of the people cut this round, this was the biggest shocker for me.
Really?
Yes. I was positive he was going through. I thought he was going to be in our final 3, honestly. And the fact that he didn't make it through kind of blows my mind.
Mine too, a little bit.
I saw that finale. It was him, it was Tyler, and it was Cody. And it feels weird. Like, it's kind of strange.
Okay.
All right, well, let's talk about our wild card. This is really not fair. We will talk about this in a second. It is Lucas and Falco. They are a dog act. They were cut last round. I'm just going to say before I even talk about this round, this is one of the inherent problems that I have with America's Got Talent, because an act like this takes so much more effort than Luke Islam picking or being given The Greatest Showman. this routine that Lucas and Falco does, it's filled with problems, easily like viewable problems, but they had the amount of time they had to put this together. Like, this is not working with another person. This is working with a dog. And it's not fair to kind of expect them to put together a whole new routine and do it perfect in the amount of time that was given.
That's beefist. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's the reverse. I'm speaking for the dogs.
I know you're saying okay, whatever. Anyway, for me, the best part of the act was nostalgia for hearing One Direction's version of One Way or Another.
That was
And
that song? I was wondering who was singing it.
It was One Direction's version of it from a couple of years ago. That was the best part of the act. I don't even like One Direction that much, but I like that song, the cover that they did. So that was the best part of the act. Kind of sad that that's the best part of the act.
Was the dog intended, like, supposed to hit the buzzer? Was that?
I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past them.
If it wasn't planned, it still worked.
It
Kind
still
of
worked. I mean,
because then Howie couldn't hit it for real.
That was what I was about to say. Yeah, that was the whole, it was clearly planned so that Howie could not actually buzz them.
I meant to do that, says the dog. All right. Well, this routine it's flawed, but of course it's flawed. Like the amount of time to put an act like this together is impossible. Like it's you're too high of a standard, and I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Thing TM next.
All right. Well, Ryan has been very high on not Ryan. Eric has been really high on Ryan, but he's also been pretty high on our next act. It is Chris Clafford. He is the winner of Swedish Idol, and tonight he is performing an original song. Not tonight, when he performed. Eric, what are your thoughts on this performance?
I love his voice. The song is better than the last one. I did know that Chris was a goner the second Howie started talking about YouTube views, which sucks. Because for me, I can't know Chris was a goner the second.
That's not fair. That's not a fair critique to say.
What?
Like, that's not his fault.
That people aren't watching. Yeah, it has nothing to do with him. It's not. Yeah, it's a BS critique it's a fake critique from a fake judge.
I also really didn't like Simon. Simon was getting confused. What was going on, Eric?
I don't really see what Simon said. What did Simon say?
Simon says he should have repeated his Judge Cut song, and then he was like stumbling over what.
No, Chris should not have done a repeat. No one should ever do repeats when there's only 5 performances.
They did that on Britain's Got Talent, didn't they?
Yes, and that's even worse. Because then there are only 3 performances and 2 of them are the same.
For me, Chris has never really been much of my thing.
Yeah, I know that, but I like his voice a lot, and I'm happy that we got to see him for as long as we did. I would have liked to see him in the final because he's the best singer of the season, but what are you gonna do?
Well, I mean, I enjoyed him, but it's not my thing. I don't like that kind of music, I guess, a little bit. But anyway, let's move on. Shall we talk about Detroit Youth Choir, which I just want to say, not only is this the first year ever that we have a choir in the finale.
3
choirs, 2 choirs.
What if the service don't count as a choir to you? Only they're kind of sort of a choir.
That's a quartet.
Fine. I'll say they're not a choir. So we'll say 2 choirs in the finals, which is insane.
We've 200% increase.
No, it's not. There's no percentage because you can't start from 0 and then multiply anything.
All right.
Anything times 0 is 0.
They're performing High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. They kind of switched up. There's some rapping. There's like a reggae breakdown. What did you think about it, Eric?
The rapping and the reggae breakdown was the best part of the performance. I wasn't blown away by it. They're good. I expect them to be in 9th or 10th place next week.
First of all, this song utterly screams of. They didn't pick this song.
Probably not.
They did.
I do like the song, the original version of it, by the way.
I also really enjoyed the original. I I didn't like this performance as much. I was kind of what?
Neither did I.
I was really expecting them to honestly get cut this round.
Me too, honestly.
And when they got called forward and they got called, I think it was with Marcin at like the same time, I was like, oh my God, did he make it?
Yeah, sorry.
And then you know how it goes. But for me, I think it's very dangerous to have an original rap during a live show because, first of all, I couldn't really make out what the girl was saying. The girl was saying words really, really quickly, and my brain, I couldn't hear what she was saying. I couldn't make out the words. This wasn't. I don't want to be harsh, but I wasn't getting anything from this.
Never was I.
I mean, they're good, but not only did they make it through, they were in the top 3.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
What's going on here, Eric?
Don't ask me. I don't have the answer.
The one other thing that stood out to me is they have the director. They always do this on America's Got Talent. Like whenever
the director,
the leader, the guy who runs the choir.
It's called the conductor, I think.
Same thing. They're
director is for a movie. I don't know.
Well, that person was standing with the judges, and they do this whenever America's Got Talent. Whenever they always
cutting.
They always got to have him there. They always got to cut away from him. But the thing is, this conductor/director, there was like times when he's turning to the audience and he's like acting as a cheerleader. He was not. They only put them there for those cutaway shots. Like
Absolutely.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Anyway, that is them. They are moving on. Maybe they could win.
Nope.
If we get a choir winning, if they win this season, if they or the other choir ends up winning this season, I would love it.
You would?
Because then Howie Mandel. This is the best season ever. I want to hear him say that after that.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's move on to a big favorite of many people. It's Alex Dowis. He is essentially a flashlight version of Standard, the Standard that we see in the past. And he is doing a performance kind of a 9/11 tribute, which, by the way, someone pointed this out to me. I don't know if it was true because I wasn't fully paying attention. But apparently his performance time was during 9/11 on, like, it was at 9/11 on the clocks. Like, did you notice that?
I did not.
All right. Well, what did you think?
So, I thought it was okay, but I've heard two completely different things. I think MJ wrote that it was kind of exploiting a tragedy for votes and she didn't like it. My mom, on the other hand, was crying apparently during this. I was indifferent. I thought the act is cool. I would have put him through over the opera singer, but this was less impressive than previous rounds for me. Your thoughts?
I think he should have made it through.
I do as well.
I don't think it didn't. Here's the thing. This is another kind of act that a lot of people really enjoy. It's not usually for me. Like, I don't usually. Maybe it's just because it's so quick, but this is more a routine that you kind of see at a museum. Like, it's not something big. It's something very small and kind of almost a little like intimate and personal. And it doesn't usually translate to kind of a big audience. I did kind of feel the panderingness a little bit. I did kind of agree, but it was a good performance and it's original. Like there's that. At least it is an America's Got Talent act. That is the one thing that at least it's that. So it's got that mark. It's got that check going for it. But man, I'm this is another act I was surprised didn't make it through.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, any other thoughts on Alex?
Not really.
All right. Well, we got how many more people we got left? We got
1, 2,
4 left.
4.
All right. Well, next up, the last act that I was.
Do you need some tissues, Adam?
I've got a few here. They're already soaking wet with my tears. It is Marcin. His last name I'm not even going to try. I apologize. But maybe I will. Patrizellik? Patrizellik. I think I got it. He is Alejandro Aranda if he didn't sing.
And he was an even better guitarist.
All right. Well, he is performing a different routine. It's kind of Shape of You, I think.
Yeah, that was what it said it was. Yeah.
I was trying to figure it out while I was playing. It was because without the words, like I will always be confused by what song is going on. Like it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Marcin was my favorite act remaining in this competition, and I'm so bummed that we lost in this round. After his performance, I was thinking maybe there's hope.
No,
maybe there's a chance. And then at the results show, when he was called forward with the choir, I was like, oh, is it happening? Did he do it? No, he didn't do it.
He wasn't going to do it.
Because
America sucks sometimes. Because honestly, he is incredible. One of the best guitarists I've ever seen. Problem was, he was also clearly a goner because he needed the judge's save last time. So.
Marcin was robbed.
Yes.
Robbed.
Mm-hmm.
He was better than, of the 11 acts that performed, I would put him at number 10. Like, 10 in the good way. Like, no. So number 2, I guess, in the reverse. He was robbed. And I'm so bummed that we lost him, and yet the choir made it through.
Mm-hmm.
How did they beat him? What do you think? Where do you think Marcin went wrong? What do you think was the problem? Was there anything he could have done to have saved himself, or was his goose cooked going into the round?
His goose cooked?
His goose was cooked. Isn't that a phrase?
It's our episode title.
Oh God. What? All right. Better phrase. Was Marcin a dead man walking, or was there anything he could have done?
He was a dead man walking. There's nothing he could have done. He did everything he could have possibly done. It wasn't enough, so it wasn't going to be enough.
It's like that song "Fix You." When you
try your best, but you don't succeed. Yep.
That should be like a staple of like America's Got. Like sometimes, even if you're the best act,
tears stream down our faces.
Even if you're the best act, sometimes you'll be sent to AGT Act Heaven, and Howie Mandel will be a choir of voices singing you to your best.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about Imane Biasha. It was funny. Earlier in the show, I said I was going through old seasons. There's literally, this girl's like been cloned over the years. Like I'm convinced there's like a machine that every year just spouts out a different version of the same kind of.
Yeah, I told you what it is. It's from Inside Out. It's the imaginary boyfriend generator.
And Imane is this year's rendition, and I don't even think she was that amazing.
Here's the thing, it didn't matter. She broke the pattern. Normally, with the exception of Jackie Vanka, the opera singer girl always goes home right now in the semifinals.
Really? Usually. The one exception that I could see, I mean, I don't know if this girl she was the closest thing in her season of the acts that I was singing. Evie Claire was the closest. Do you remember her?
No, not really.
She was a singer who her father actually passed away like during the live show.
She was an opera though.
She was the closest thing like of the archetype. Like that was a bit of a stretch, but
yeah, no. The opera girl other than Jackie Vanka always comes home at the semifinal. And Imane broke the pattern.
But kind of not of her own merit. It was she had to get saved. Like usually they don't get the save. That's usually where it happens.
Barely broke the pattern, but she broke the pattern.
Maybe Simon Cowell's just. This is the season where just weird things are happening. Like molds are being broken, things are happening different. Maybe Simon Cowell just wanted once to put that girl through.
Okay.
But next season, when we here at Reality Hour are recapping America's Got Talent, what is it, season 15?
Yeah, I think.
This girl is gonna walk on stage and I'm gonna go, no! If I was in judge. No.
Yeah. We've seen you enough.
2 more years.
Uh-huh.
How did she make it through?
I don't know.
there's that one girl, they put the big song, and she does okay with it. And let's talk about the last of our golden buzzers still remaining in the competition, who did need the Duncan / Snapple / save. It is Ryan Niemiller. Eric, this is your golden buzzer, and he's in the finale. Twice in a row, 2 years in a row, you had an act make it to the finale. I am 0 for 0.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about Ryan.
He's awesome. So funny. My favorite thing about his performance this week was that he didn't talk about his disability at all. Which was exactly what I was hoping for, because he's not a niche comedian. He's a great comedian. I am pissed he needed the save to make it through. I am hoping that by miracle he can sneak into the top 5, but even if he doesn't, I'm buying tickets to see him when he comes to DC next time.
This season, I don't think I've laughed once from a comedian act. I don't think. I didn't fully laugh from Ryan, but he did have me smiling, and I did like an occasional chuckle. Maybe if it was a bit of a longer routine, but that says a lot more than any other comedy act this season. So that gets a thumbs up from me.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed his routine. I liked the joke about he said he was traveling across the country, and he said it's like there's Los Angeles, and then he was like drawing a line. Then he's like, New York.
Yep.
That part got me.
I like the part about how Iowa was like 9 hours to get through Iowa, and it's like, and the Looney Tunes like the same thing in the background. That was great.
Have you ever done a cross country drive, Eric?
The closest thing I've done to that is driving from DC to Florida, and even that was a nightmare. So,
is it true? Is the road just the same road from Looney Tunes?
No, but might as well be.
Yeah, he was killing it this round. I mean, it was he was in it. I enjoyed it, and I haven't said that at all this entire season from a comedian. So, Eric, you've got good. You can pick some good ones here for golden buzzers.
Mm-hmm.
But does he got a shot at top 5?
I hope. I don't think so, but I hope. I'm voting, but we'll see.
All right. Well, one act left.
Mm-hmm.
Final act of the night. It is Voices of Service, and this performance happened a few days ago. The day before, I think, was 9/11.
It was the day of 9/11.
I think it was the.
Oh, it was the day before, yeah.
Which was then awkward because Alex did a 9/11 routine and got cut on 9/11, which is really.
That's not awkward.
I mean, there were 2 acts this round that I feel were really kind of pandering, and they were kind of.
And this was the other one.
And this was the other one. And like I said, if Luke was kind of like on 9th on my list, these guys have consistently been like 7th. Like they're very good. I believe that female singer, especially this performance, I remembered all over again why I think she was one of the best singers of the season. Has a phenomenal voice. And for this round, they are performing Choke by One Republic. What did you think, Eric?
I think they all got great voices. In particular, I would say the woman in this group is not just one of the best singers, she's the best singer that remains in this competition. So I hope they make top 5.
I almost wish she wasn't, like in
with the Ever 3. Yeah, me too.
But the thing is, if they weren't, the producers would shove her into like Mariah Carey songs, and that would just.
Oh, it'd be awful if she was by herself. They wouldn't let her do anything good.
This is the problem. Like if we had singers who were like older singers, who weren't shoved into boxes of singing big diva ballads, like this could be something great. Like remember Carmen Carter? Like, well,
no.
She's not a good example because they screwed her up. Imagine Dragons they gave her, which is
the ever thing that we know is a clear sign of the apocalypse, or not the apocalypse. You know,
no one would pick an Imagine Dragons song for themselves.
No one would ever do that. Why would they?
Anyway, I really enjoyed this performance. They were all really good though this round. One of the men was he really stood out to me. But that girl, that woman, she's really good. Like,
Yeah.
really, really good. Like, she is Carmen Carter if she wasn't forced into
Songs
those.
that weren't good for her. You're right.
So they ended up making it through. I do also kind of really briefly want to touch on, we did get a guest performer this week. Eric, one of your favorite acts and my favorite acts as well. Who you actually got to see live.
Actually.
What?
I want to touch on both of the guest performances because I was one of them I wasn't looking forward to, but it turns out it's the one I should have been looking forward to a little bit more actually.
All right, so I only saw parts of Piff the Magic Dragon, so tell me about the other one.
Well, Piff the Magic Dragon was amazing. I mean, obviously um he did the first trick that he did when I saw him a couple months or so ago. He's so good. He's so funny. I love him so much. I'm so happy that he's successful. Tokyo Myers now from Britain's Got Talent. The reason I liked the performance had nothing to do with Tokyo, honestly. It had to do with the fact that the vocalist on the song that he was playing was actually Grace Davis from X Factor 2017, my favorite from that year. And
it's like a crossover episode.
No, it's going to be her new single. So that he was doing with her. That she was. She's gonna be the vocalist on that song when it comes out sometime soon, and I'm super excited because I love her and I'm happy that she's finally releasing some music.
I want a duet, if that makes sense, a duet of Piff the Magic Dragon and Tapeface.
No.
No?
Anyway.
Why? No. Why is it no?
Because no, I don't like Tapeface.
How do you not like Tapeface? He's one of my favorite acts.
I know he is. You said you like him better than Piff, which is blasphemy still to this day. But
Tapeface is more my kind of humor. Like
I know.
I like my humor stupid and immature, and that's what I love with Tapeface. It's just, I still remember that when he did that puppets, like with the oven mitts.
Great. Okay.
And they ended up kissing.
So now, before we go, I do want to touch a little bit on Britain's Got Talent, the Champions, which you did not get to see.
Can we actually talk about one thing before we get to that? So this is the end of our coverage of the semifinals. This is my last question I have. We have our top 10. I'm going to throw this question over to you, and then I'm going to answer it. Eric, who is our top 3?
Top 3. V.Unbeatable, Cody Lee, torn either Tyler or Benicio.
Cody Lee. I'm going to say Tyler. I still think he's going to be there. Tyler. And on a selfish note, I would put Voices of Service.
Okay, so I'll be right and you'll be wrong. Anyway.
All right, let's talk Britain's Got Talent. Let's hear what you got.
Okay, so Paul Zerden was on, and you need to watch his performance if you didn't yet. He did probably one of the second funniest routine he's ever done. The funniest will forever be the Howie Mandel as a dummy routine. But this was really good too. I mean, you just have to see it. It was full joke, all of them hit. Paul is really, really good. And he actually got second in the superfan vote.
Which is apparently
is our actual people, supposedly, but
I'm convinced
we'll touch on that
later. They're the same people like how we have that machine that pops out opera singers.
Yeah, they're either that or they're bribed with cookies or not being able to leave until they finally begrudgingly agree to put through the people the producers want to put through. There's no way they're real people who act on their own volition.
It's like how a group of people randomly come together to like push a beach whale back into the ocean. That is the Superman.
Okay. Also, Lost Voice Guy was on this week. He did a great routine as well. So those are the two that I wanted to plug.
Who made it through?
Neither of them. The results on Britain's Got Talent, the Champions are awful. Just awful so far.
So who did make it?
Golden Buzzer was a dog act, which I didn't watch. And
Ashley and Pudsey died. No, it's Ashley and Sully.
No, that was last week, and they didn't make it through.
Poor Sully.
It was a different dog act. And
don't worry, they'll probably be on the next season of Got Talent Champions here.
Well, they already were on last season's Got Talent Champions.
They're going to be again. We're just recycling. We're just going to It's the same.
hope not, but you're probably right. So that's all I really wanted to touch on is those two acts.
But who made it through? Who were the?
Oh, the dog act made it, got the golden buzzer. And the other act was a dance troupe where the girl was apparently had some illness and Simon helped her pay for her surgery so that she was able to keep dancing. So.
All right. Well, I guess
Paul deserved to make it through. Anyway.
So that is our episode. Eric, one more week. The finish line is in sight.
Yeah.
We're almost there.
Almost there. And then we start Masked Singer coverage, which is gonna suck, but we'll start it.
We should do one last round of predictions while we're here right now. About the acts. Cody Lee, does he win?
I'm not gonna say it now. I've given myself another day to think about it, so I wrote my power list.
I'm gonna say he wins. I think he does, and I think both choirs don't make top 10. I'm also gonna say.
I would agree with that one, but I'm not sure about Cody Lee winning yet.
All right. Well, I guess that's gonna be our show, guys. Any final thoughts, Eric?
Nope. My name is Eric Ascher. You can find me on Twitter at Eric_Ascher, ericascher.com from my website, and ericascher01 on YouTube.
And I'm Adam Samuel. You can find me on Twitter at AdamSoapbox or on my two websites, adamsoapbox.com and adamcvblog.com. I recently did a podcast with a friend of mine. It dropped this past Sunday. You could check it out. It's with Losing It is the podcast name. I tweeted a link. You could find it on my page, or you could just type in Losing It in my name and it should come up right away. But if it doesn't, you can find it on my page. Let me know what you guys think if you listen to it. It was like a 30 minutes, but let me know what you thought. Anyway, so we will be back one more time. There will be no crown, unfortunately, this season, which does make me a little sad. I always hope to get to wear a crown on finale night. But until then, peace.